Ladies and gentlemen, we've got forward progress. Thornton Township Board fills interim trustee position. Supervisor, the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, skips the meeting. That's a shocker. We got a new trustee. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's watch a quick video. Trey Ward, ABC. Here we go.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard was absent from seeing the vacant trustee position filled, a process she's been against. Now some trustees say the next move is to get a budget approved and insurance paid.
Without further ado, we nominate Stephanie Weedman.
A position that hasn't been filled since October was decided on within minutes.
I second the motion for Stephanie.
As electors, packing a South Holland fieldhouse made a resounding choice.
A lot of people.
Is for Stephanie Weedman.
Stephanie Weedman receiving the majority vote to fill a vacant Thornton Township trustee position, effective immediately.
To the best of my ability. To the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Weedman beat out two other nominees during Tuesday night's special meeting. She had served under Thornton Township's previous administration since 2003, but current supervisor Tiffany Henyard fired her when she took office 3 years ago.
You don't pour your entire adult life into 17 communities for, somebody else to come in and watch it fall apart.
She was already on the inside, and she's more familiar with it. I don't know why she fired her in the first place.
Getting to this point has been contentious for months, with trustees Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile skipping out on meetings, fearing Henyard would appoint one of her allies to fill the vacancy. That resulted in a local government shutdown, bus services paused, township buildings locked down, and insurance policies left unpaid.
We might, if we had to wait till the next regularly board meeting, but we're hoping to get all that stuff just going as soon as we could.
Weedman will fill the trustee position until May after the April 1st election, an election she says she does not plan to run in. We did reach out to Henyard for comment, but have not heard back.
If you're enjoying this content, you'd like to support the channel, consider a subscription to reasonabletv.com. We've got at least a couple of videos that come out each week that you won't see anywhere else. Here's an example. This is the member content only. New York City subway robbery turns into deadly fight. You had a guy who was getting basically mugged on the New York City subway, and he killed two of the robbers. Yeah, you're not hearing about that on mainstream media, are you? No. Here's another one. Pimp shootout. This was in Seattle. Pimp shootout. Uber hero saves trafficked woman. We've got all kinds of pimp shootings, violent stabbings, you name it here in Seattle. You want to check that out? You're not going to see it anywhere else. It's going to cost you $3.99 a month. Get a 14-day free subscription. Thanks in advance. In my humble opinion, all the way from Seattle, Washington, I think this is pretty good news for the people of Township of Thornton, all 17 different little communities within, not even little, 17 communities within Township of Thornton. There has been so much nonsense that has led up to this period, to this election. I mean, I watched this on Reality Check TV Chicago on his live stream last night. And it was, I was doing some cardio. I was on treadmill and watching and talking with some of the people. Critical Smoker was there. A bunch of other people were there on the live chat. And it was really interesting to watch. And what I finally figured out, and this took me so long to figure out because there's so many little bits and pieces to these stories with Tiffany Henyard. I mean, it's just, you got to have followed this for years to kind of get the full, the full background to why everything kind of happens the way it does. But on this one, it was because Tiffany Henyard had a 60-day window to make an appointment if somebody dips out of the trustee position, which is what Jerry Jones did. He said that he had to step down for his health and spend more time with his family. It's like, okay, whatever. And then Tiffany Henyard had a window to basically install whomever she wanted. And then, so at the tail end of her super mayordom, she would have been able to, kind of do whatever she wanted if she was able to get somebody that's going to support her. And then she's arguably got more power to do what she wants, which is not a good thing. And so that's why I think Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile did a great job. And I know it was at the behest of attorneys, right? Hey, do this, do this, do this. They took some real heat for dipping out on those meetings or just not showing up, right? Not showing up. And that's what I kept thinking. Okay, they're doing this for a reason. I don't really know why, but they're doing it for a reason. And I said that openly. I don't know everything about, South Holland politics. I know very little, but I'm a quick study and I've been following this story because it's a fascinating story of a rogue politician who's just really kind of gone off the rails and has been, the community has risen up and basically stated, we need some more reasonable people in here. And I think Stephanie is one of those people that is an interim pick, and she will get the township going where it needs to, which is they need some damn insurance. They need some decisions to be made. They need some votes to be made. And now that they've got somebody that's reasonable in there, along with Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile, hopefully they can get back on track and get things going, because the people of Township of Thornton, you deserve better. You deserve better than what you've had. And for all of you Tiffany Henyard supporters out there, how's that working out for you? Not that great, right? And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Because your constituency has said, vast majority, what we got going on right now ain't working. Simple as that. Let's read the story. Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard was absent. Where was she? Did she just know ahead of time she was going to get absolutely trounced in this vote? I mean, some of these things, when I watch these, when I watched the thing last night, I know I said we're going to read the story. When I watched this live last night, I was like, did they even vote for the other two people? Was there even a vote? Because there was like no noise at all. I mean, from where I was on a treadmill with earphones on, it sounded a massive roar for Stephanie. The other two, did anybody vote to process that she has been against, the supermayor has been against, because she loses control. She doesn't have the ability to put in who she wants. Now some trustees say the next move is to get a budget approved and insurance paid. Pay the insurance. Can't have those buses running around taking your senior citizens to Big Bingo, getting a crash, another $10 million in a lawsuit. Oh, you don't have insurance? Oh, okay. All right. Township of Thornton, it says on the bus. Is that right? Is that right? You know how that one's going to go. Aaron Brockovich, right? Not good. Position that hasn't been filled since October was decided on within minutes as electors packing a South Holland field house made a resounding choice. Stephanie Weedman received the majority vote to fill a vacant Thornton Township trustee position. I have seen her interviewed many, many times, and I didn't put it together that this is who we were going to elect into this position. Then when I saw her, I was like, I know that chick. I know who that is. Oh, that's wild. I don't know anything about her other than the interviews that I've seen, and taking one look at her, knowing that she's got 20 years of community service, and if the community is behind her the way that they were when they literally said, this is a vote for Stephanie Weedman, the crowd just went, it was loud. I mean, that was just loud. Weedman beat out two other nominees during Tuesday night's special meeting. She had served under Thornton Township previous administration since 2003. Long time. And then Henyard fired her when she took office 3 years ago because Weedman is reasonable, and Tiffany Henyard doesn't want reasonable people. She wants yes people that say yes to her agenda. And you know what? That's her call. It's politics. And you guys voted her in. Actually, this is the township. So you didn't vote her in. She was appointed, and I think she was recommended by Chris Gonzalez. Oh, yeah. It's one of those things where he made a decision at the time with the information he had. And then as she got into a position of power, the supermayor, things started going sideways, depending on who you believe, right? You don't pour your entire adult life into 17 communities. We heard that. She was already in the inside and she's more familiar with it. I don't know that she is more familiar with it necessarily than Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard has been there for a long time. She's more familiar with it. I think she's just a good pick, right? And she clearly, it knows the ins and outs of Township of Thornton. But more importantly, she's going to do what she's elected to do, which is have the best interests of the community, which is Township of Thornton. Getting to this point has been contentious for months with trustees Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile. I got to be honest. Whenever I see Carmen Carlile's name, all I can think of is Tiffany Henyard saying Carmen Carlile. I mean, it's so bad. I've just got that ingrained into my head, knowing full well that Carmen Carlile is not a liar, right? It's just a nickname. It's like a Trump nickname thrown out there, right? And with Carmen Carlile and Chris Gonzalez skipping out on meetings, because if they didn't, Tiffany Henyard would appoint one of her allies to fill the vacancy. So this is the other candidate here that was aligned with Tiffany Henyard. Dalton resident Charles Rayburn pursues open Thornton Township seat. Longtime political and community activist Charles Rayburn said he's considering a bid for the open trustee seat in Thornton Township of Trustees. Rayburn made his intentions known December 30th during the public comment period. I remember that. Rayburn said he was motivated to throw his hat into the ring after reading an article in the Lansing Journal, which we're reading from, excellent coverage, about Stephanie Weiderman's plans to pursue the seat, which is only open for the last few months of its term. Let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, this is only for a few months. Was it worth all of this? Well, it was a necessary procedure to preserve being reasonable in Township of Thornton. Because if Tiffany Henyard gets one more thing in her direction going, we've already seen what she can do. And it, based on what you guys think, what all the constituents of not only Township of Thornton, but Village of Dalton, you don't want things going in Tiffany Henyard's favor. Money gets spent when that happens, right? She's a wonderful person. This is what Rayburn is saying about Stephanie. She's a wonderful person. If she gets that seat, no one will support her more than I will, said Rayburn, who added that he spoke with Weedman about the electoral board hearing and told her he disagreed with two things that he read in the article. He said, while Weedman listed her qualifications, her longtime ties to local politics, and her work with former Township Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli, and that is who Tiffany Henyard took over for. She hasn't been around half as long as I've been around, he said. Being around a long time doesn't necessarily make you a better politician. It just means you're old, right? I'm not saying either one of these candidates is old. I got a feeling Stephanie is quite a bit younger than I am. She looks like it. But this guy, who knows? Also, I don't really believe, Stephanie, that the animosity you have for Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, you can get around it and make decisions that are totally unbiased. You are not electing these folks. You're not electing Stephanie to be totally unbiased. You are electing Stephanie to make decisions that have the constituency of the Township of Thornton's best interests at heart. And that is why everybody is biased. Everybody, no matter what they do, is biased. That's the whole point. That is politricking, as the supermayor would put it, right? He believes that that would end up hurting the township. Getting Stephanie elected and her, because she goes against the supermayor, is not biased. These folks that support Tiffany Henyard, they are die hard to the end. I mean, they will go to, walk off that long, what was it? Walk the plank. That's what pirates used to do, right? Walk off a really long plank for Tiffany Henyard. It's wild to see how how devoted her supporters are. So I hope we can get some things done instead of all this corruption and stuff, said Lisa Wash, Weedman supporters. From here in Seattle, Washington, I hope you can too, because you got, buses running around without insurance, and that is not a laughing matter. I mean, you've got people in the community that the very reason Township of Thornton exists is to help them out. And you want to be able to do it in a way that is legal, meaning you've got vehicles on the road. If they get in an accident, your interests, the Township of Thornton, are going to be insured. And there's been so much in the media, in mainstream media about, we saw a bus over there. Yeah, another bus over there. And just all these kind of storylines. So hopefully Township of Thornton can kind of get things back on track. How about a budget? How about you guys get a budget together and work on that? That'd be something else, wouldn't it? Insurance, budget. Hey, it's a whole new day, right? As long as we focus on what's best for the residents, then the divides shouldn't be so apparent. Having little divides is totally normal. Everybody's got a different perspective. But when you've got people not showing up to meetings, including the supermayor, how many meetings has the supermayor dipped out on? I mean, this is extreme politics where literally the cogs of the wheel have just come to a grinding halt and nothing's going on, right? Supervisor Tiffany Henyard did not attend the special meeting. Her spokesman, Keith Price, who runs the food bank, if I'm remembering that correctly. I know he does. Yep. He told WGN News they played until the buzzer. I do like this quote. Well done, Keith. They played until the buzzer and their opponents were successful at turning people out to vote. Henyard's name was kept out of the April ballot in the supervisor's race in a Democratic caucus held last month. And I haven't heard anything on that lawsuit. So it appears both Tiffany Henyard's positions, she will lose the mayoral race for mayor in Dalton. And she's, going to be replaced as township supervisor in Township of Thornton. So that's what it appears. Now, why weren't there more people voting for Tiffany Henyard's guy? That's just a question that comes to me. And clearly, I don't understand all the politics here, but why weren't there? I mean, there's a lot of supporters in the village of Dalton, a few hundred for Tiffany Henyard. Was it too cold? Did they just not want to go out? Did they not want to get, vote in a township deal? Did they know they were just going to get crushed? That there was no way that however many supporters they've got, is it 100? Is it 200? That they were just going to get absolutely decimated with going to this vote. And so they just didn't show up. Tiffany Henyard didn't show up. If she thought she had a chance, she would have shown up, right? So clearly ahead of time, she knew, she read the tea leaves and said, well, based on this, ain't nothing going to go in my favor. So we're not going. Keith Price, he went instead. So, and he basically said and the buzzer comment, they played until the buzzer, meaning they didn't. So this position became available vacant in October, right? So that means you got part of October. I can't remember when in October this happened. You got part of October. You got all of November. You got all of December. And geez, you got 2/3 of January already down. Well, 3/4 of January already down. We're January, 22nd? So yeah, Carmen, Carlile, and Chris Gonzalez, they played until the buzzer. They did not quit. They did not give up. And they got raked over the coals for not showing up at meetings. You had Tiffany Henyard people that clearly they understood what was going on, more so than I do. Because I'm just looking here. I'm looking at these stories going, what in the F is going on? What's happening here? And it's taken me this long to kind of catch up because I'm a real estate guy from Seattle. right? So that's kind of where we sit. But it has been it's been unfortunately for people in Township of Thornton, it has been a wildly entertaining story to watch. And we're not done. We've still got the Lori Lightfoot, former Lori Lightfoot mayor, former prosecutor. We've got her report coming on, I think, is that the 27th, I believe? I think it's the 27th. That's coming up, I believe. Again, I need to check calendar on that. But we've got that. We've also got the FBI probe. Got that FBI probe action going on. It's still in the background, right? We don't know what's going to come of that. We have no idea. Maybe nothing. And maybe a bunch of stuff comes up in Lori Lightfoot's report, but it's nothing that's going to put Tiffany Henyard in an orange jumpsuit. That is kind of my prediction. I don't think she will do any time. I think she'll weasel out on a bunch of this stuff. Because I think she is just crafty enough to have some outs on how all this money got spent. And it might not be ethical, but I don't believe it's going to be illegal to the point where they're going to prosecute her for it and put her in jail, put her in prison. I don't think that's going to happen. And I know that's an unpopular opinion because so many of you want to see that happen, but I'm just telling you what I think based on what is reasonable. And I cover a lot of these stories, not just Dalton, not just Township of Thornton. I cover stories in, best example of that is Sheng Tao, the recalled mayor of Oakland. Talking Oakland, California. We're talking the Raiders. She got recalled and then she just got indicted because her boyfriend, his family, built some homes and has a massive recycling company, and they traded money for favors. They gave a boyfriend a job that didn't really exist, $300K a year, some real corruption. Tiffany Henyard, I believe there is corruption there, but I think it's going to be chalked up to bad decisions, some unethical decisions. I think it's going to go that direction. I don't think she gets prosecuted. I don't think she gets incarcerated. But you know what the beauty of this is? We can look back on this podcast and go, Sean, you were absolutely right or wrong. I'm taking my shot. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.